Chiquillos de Rola
Hello.
la Vena, bienvenidos acá. Estamos en otro episodio de una conversación con, y esta vez estamos con el gran, el único Kam Lee, que estará con nosotros con Benediction el próximo 28 de octubre, Teatro Cariola. Mr. Kam Lee, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, you're going to be here next October 28th, Teatro Cariola, joining Benediction in this upcoming Latin America tour. First of all, this is the first time you joining Benediction?
No,
Oh,
this is the first time I'm going to be joining Benediction. They had unfortunately Dave had to step down
yes,
because of his health.
yes.
I know he's had a lot of different surgeries and stuff, so it has to do with that. Probably it's I don't know, but I'm guessing maybe it's very painful for him to stand for many hours, especially on stage and stuff like that. So um I know when that happened, they got like Oscar to step in, and they went and got their other people have been joining, but they kind of reached out to me through different times and said, would you be able to do it? And I said, well, let me see if I'm doing something with Massacre or not. And it just so happened Massacre is finishing a tour right in September, and
Oh,
so we were open. I was open, and they jumped. Daring contacted me, and he said, "Can you do it?" And I said, "Okay, I'll do it. Sure." But I said the first thing I wanted to do is I'm really good friends with David Ingram, so I said the first thing I
nice.
want to do, I want to talk to David because I want to make sure he's okay with it
Okay.
because I wanted to make sure and he was I was he was surprised surprised I was going to do it. He was like, if ever he told me, he's like, if anyone is going to do this, you're the person I would want. So I was very I was very
Okay.
pleased to hear that. It was nice to hear that.
But how come that connection? You're friend, of course, with Dave, but who talked to you? Who do the
uh
first connection to talk with to
actually my
join?
friend, yeah,
Oh,
my friend Pete Roy, he knows David, he knows all the guys in Benediction, and he knows me. He's helped me he's been a TM for us before for Massacre.
okay.
And he was at one of the Benediction shows when they just asked him. I guess they went up and asked him. They said, "Hey, Cam, right?" And he was like, "Yes, of course." And they said, "Well, what do you think? Do you think he would do it?" And he was like, "Well, let me ask." And he's like, "The coolest thing about Cam is you can ask him anything. He'll just tell you straight up." So yeah, it was a WhatsApp conversation. Literally, it was like we were on WhatsApp and had the conversation. And they were at the festival, and they asked me if I would do it, and I said, "Yeah, sure." I said, I'm gonna have to like really study, like I'm in school again, to
Yes,
study the
yes.
lyrics and learn all the material. But I'm pretty confident that I'll do good.
Nice.
I was, like I said, I was really mainly concerned that David was going to be open about it and okay and with it. And when he told me that he was great with it, he thought it was great. I felt a lot better.
Okay, so that was nice and easy.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so how is to? Okay, this is like new for you, Benediction. Of
yes,
course, you are familiar with the songs, but now you have to be more familiar. You have to learn lyrics.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know
That's
if you're gonna try to sing like Dave, or you're gonna bring your own techniques, your own growth.
well, yeah. I think it's going to be that's the one thing I think they reached out to me because David, of course, and other vocalists have been highly influenced by me. So David was like, hey, if there's anybody perfect to fit and everyone else that's told, I've told it's going to happen. They're like, you couldn't have a perfect fit because um, back in the original Benediction, when Barney Greenway was singing for them, the original first album came out. There was a sticker on the album. I have the vinyl somewhere, and the sticker said, "At last, the UK's answer to Massacre." So
Okay.
even back
Of
then they were heavily influenced by the sound. So all the vocalists, from Napalm Death, Barney Greenway was being in Benediction first, then went to Napalm Death, and then David Ingram stepping in. They've all had sort of like I guess the Kam Lee stamp. I guess they kind of take an influence from me. So to me, I think it's an easy, of course, we all have our own, way of doing things, our own way of enunciating. One thing I looked at was David is very well linguistically in the English language,
Okay.
which
Okay. Yes.
I'm okay. It's I'm not great. I'm kind of American, but they're British, so they're better at it's their own language. So some of the lyrics I'm reading and I'm like, I got to get out the encyclopedia. I don't know what that word means.
Well, that's a nice approach because of course you are from USA, they are from the UK, so of
Yes.
course it's natural that some words, some kind of some
Yeah.
kind of technique have to be different.
Yeah, a lot of words are different and a lot of enunciation is different. They say things like we may say the same word. It was just like with somebody that's from Latin America, like my guitar player is Puerto Rican. So sometimes he'll say words in English and I'm like, what did you say? Wait, what? What? And I said, your
Yeah,
accent is so strong. I said, I know you said the word, but how did you say it? And I tease him a lot and he comes back on me and he's like, oh, fuck you. Fuck you. Why make fun of me? I'm like, not making fun of you. It's just, I've never heard the word say that way.
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. It's the same. Latin America compared to the Spanish from Spain, they
Yes.
have different. We have different words, different pronunciation. I don't know if you're gonna keep playing after Latin America tour, or so far is the Latin America tour.
Well, right now, so far, it's the Latin America tour.
Okay.
They said they're open to it. I'm open to it, but of course, I still have Massacre, and
Yes.
I've got a lot of stuff, and we've discussed it. I've discussed it with the band, and I said, as long as there's no crossing, because I
Exactly.
said, but I'll adjust. I'm very open to adjust and work with it. So because right now Massacre is really getting ready to record and write a new album. So this one
Okay.
might be a good time to actually do this because I can still write on the road because I can be with Benediction and use modern technology like my iPhone and have the guys send me the material while I'm on the tour so I can listen to it and matter of fact, just before you got on, I was writing lyrics to my solo album, which is coming out as well next year. So
Huh.
just before we got working, I was doing that early this morning.
So
So
you
I'm
have two
constant.
news. A
Yes.
new record from Massacre and a new solo album. Talk to me about that solo album.
Well, I decided that I wanted to do a solo album too, so I could do a little bit more, so I could branch out myself a little bit more.
Okay.
And actually, I have two kind of projects going on. It's crazy. I plan on 2027 being the year that Kam Lee conquers the world. So yes. So I
Cool.
decided. I said, well, also I'm going to be 60 this year. The
What?
big six. Yes, the big 60. So I was like, I don't know how much time I got left. I was like, I don't. I mean,
Okay.
I try to stay healthy, and then I have been staying healthy and losing weight and eating right and trying to stay healthy. And
Nice. Nice.
I'm like thinking, you don't know. Well, what happened was last year, my brother had a stroke. My younger brother had a
Oh,
stroke, and it
sorry.
really woke me up. It woke me up. I said, wow. I said, he's younger than me, and he was a lot more healthier than me, a lot more, you know, uh, he worked very hard every day outside, and he's a strong man, and to see a
Yeah.
strong man get knocked down by his own body, and it
That's a
woke
shock.
me up. Yeah, it
Yes.
woke me up, and I said, man, I've got to do something. And I realized that once that happened, I really said, you never know when we could go. And unfortunately, just the other day, Mike Browning passed away. And that was a shock to everybody. Yeah. And
I'm sorry.
so, yeah. And so you never know when and when we're going to go. So I was thinking prior to that, but prior to the news from yesterday and right after my brother's stroke, I was like, yeah, I've got to do stuff if I want to do stuff because you never know. You never
Yeah.
know when that could be the last day. So I decided just with my wife, I was sitting down. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do everything I wanted to do and just put it all out at once instead of wait.
Nice.
So I said, and then everything just happened so to come to me without me really going out. So the Benediction came to me, and then the working on the solo album came to me, and then Massacre working on our new album came to me. And then just while I was working with all this stuff, I started working with another individual. I said, hey, let's just, for fun, let's just do some cover songs of some punk stuff.
Okay.
And that went from one song to now it's 13 songs. So
which songs?
Oh, there's I did some I'm an old school, guy, so I'm going to be 60. I grew up in the 80s first, before metal. I liked a lot of punk from the 80s, so like stuff like Discharge and GBH, Circle Jerks,
of course.
and even stuff in the 90s like DRI and
yes.
Stuff like that. So we just started doing one song, then one song turned into two songs turned into three, and
now you have a record. Yeah.
And now we have a record, yes. So that's going to also come out. And I decided, probably just because it's a covers album, I just put it out digitally just to have songs out there. Okay. Just so if that way people they might not have to buy the whole album. They might not like all the stuff, but they can say, oh, I like that song, I'll buy that one. And then just do that. I love physical media. I would love for there to be a physical media of it. That's if somebody's interested, if a label's interested. Don't know if I could get a label interested in a full cover album, but I like I like to get stuff out there. So maybe I get it out there and start putting it out there digitally and see what happens when time comes. But I am working on it.
You have a record label, right?
Well, I kind of have a record label, but it's kind of like I just released my own stuff on it. Okay. I don't, yeah. So it's just small. It's underground. It's kind of like I love the underground. I've come from the old school underground, the do-it-yourself underground, where we didn't have to rely on a record company. We just did it ourselves. So I still have that about me. I still like doing stuff like that. I mean, I would still do cassettes if cassettes were, but
I love the tapes. Of course.
Yes, I would do that if it was more. But it's easy for me to get 50 to 100 CDs pressed and just have some something out that's underground and still kind of. I know some people get mad and they go, "Oh, you only did 100. That's not fair." I'm like, but I'm not a big label. I'm not a big conglomerate. I'm special. To that little underground thing, and I still love that underground old school aesthetic, like the tape trading days when you could only get certain things at certain times. Yes,
I know. Well, I'm 38, so I saw. I have to say, like my generation lived between these two eras. The digital media, the physical media. So of course. I used to trade tapes or record tape from the radio,
Yes.
When the radio put your favorite song, you put the tape song. So I love that kind of thing. By the way, you're gonna bring those a few material of you to the Latin American?
Something? Yeah, I'm gonna try to bring some stuff. I mean, I don't want to. I would never want to. I would never want to impose. With Benediction, I would never want to say,
of course,
it's their show. It's, and I respect them. So it's like, it's your, your merch table. I'm not going to set up my merch table on the side. Mm-hmm. If they say, oh no, you can set up a little tiny corner, then I'll have some stuff, maybe.
Okay. So. Yeah, but that would be great if you can bring a few so we can buy. That would be perfect.
Yeah. Yep.
I have an interview a few months ago with Rick Ross. I always try to see how the artists right now seeing this new evolving world every day. I'm talking about the industry. So you say that you have a small underground record. You call yourself, I don't know, underground artist. You still feel like you are underground, knowing that you are one of the founders, of course. Of the death metal, like Jeff Becerra. By the way, Jeff, I love you. In other artists, do you still consider yourself in this era underground artist?
Well, it's kind of hard. I have underground, I guess, like the way I feel, the way I think is still very based in the roots of the underground. However, it's kind of hard today to say that you're truly underground because underground has become so commercialized. It's become such a commodity. I mean, I remember just a decade ago walking into a mall and seeing Cannibal Corpse and obituary shirts in a mall, and I was like, okay, this is not where this stuff is supposed to be. I
Exactly.
mean, it's where it's moved to, and I'm no authority on it, and I understand that it's all about money. You know, you get to a point where it's about money, but I still have that deep inside, I guess, street, kind of street core kind of like attitude, like, ah, fuck that. I don't want that shit. So, I get that way,
I
but
got it. I
then
got it.
I realize sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not being too smart. Maybe I'm taking a sandwich out of my mouth if I say that, maybe my next meal, maybe I'm like, but it's very hard. It's very hard to come out of that because that's where we come from. At least that's where I come from. And
I
I
understand.
try not to be. I mean, we used to have terms back in the day. You said you're 38, so you kind of came from. You'll know somebody. If you say words now they mean different now than they meant back then. So, like a word like poser, see young people get mad when you say poser. They're like, "There's no such thing as a poser," and I'm like, you have to understand what the term meant because now it
Exactly.
means a different thing. Back in the day, what it meant was someone pretending to be what we were in order to cash in
Okay.
or make money from, and they didn't really believe in it. They were just like, oh, I'm going to dress this way. I'm going to grow my hair out. I'm going to wear the shirts that they wear. I'm going to wear the camouflage shorts and, the high top sneakers. I'm going to dress like they are. And that way I can fit in with them and kind of get in with them and make money, by pretending to be like that because Motley Crue isn't cool anymore. So I can't have hair metal. So I'm going to go here. And that's what happened. I really feel that the scene became infiltrated. Now, there's two ways to look at it. Some people say, well, the scene grew, and it did. And it's great that it
Yes.
grew.
Yes. 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 It's like a wannabe these days. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
wannabe. There you go. It's the
Mhm.
same thing. But we
Yeah.
used to say poser, but now poser is a bad word. It's
Yeah.
like you can't say that word now because people get upset. And I was like, well, because it meant something different from when I used it back in the day. Just it meant to explain someone who was not true. So I guess I have this, not that I'm an elitist and not that I'm a gatekeeper. I don't like that either. I never liked that either. But there's a certain kind of way that you think and you feel, and it's anything that you helped create, anything that you helped formulate, anything that you because to me, before there was a death metal scene, before there was a thrash scene, it was a movement. It was
Okay.
not a scene, it was a movement. It was like there was guys in the United States, there was guys in South America, and we didn't see each other. We didn't have the access that we do now. Like I can talk to you and see you. Back then, everything we had to write a
Letters.
letter
Yes.
and
Yes.
send it in the mail, and you didn't hear back from somebody for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you get a letter.
That's
It used to
crazy.
be so exciting just to go to get an envelope
Yeah.
in the mail, and then
That's crazy.
I was writing to guys in Norway. Even the early days, writing to Anonymous and stuff from Mayhem and stuff like that, and getting handwritten letters and writing back and forth to Killjoy because he was in Ohio at the time, and I was in Florida, and Killjoy from Necrophagia were writing back and forth, or I was writing to John McEntee, in New York, and
For New
and
York. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Love
or
incantation.
yeah, and stuff like that. So we're writing, and we never met for years. We didn't
That's
know who'd
crazy.
even. Yeah, we only saw what we looked like from pictures, from photographs, and then we meet each other, and then it's like, hey, it was like a big movement. It was more than just a scene. Now it's too easy. You're gonna just get on and
Yes.
WhatsApp you and see you when you wake up in the morning having your coffee. But
Well,
now but it's good. Some parts of today's good because of that. But I think I just missed that old uh
old life.
that old
Yeah.
way.
There
It
is the
seemed
old ways. Yeah. The
yes.
old, the original path.
Yeah. So that's why
Yeah.
I consider myself an underground artist, because I still live by those rules. I still live by those rules.
Nice, nice. I love this kind of interview with legends like you because in my perspective I can see a different point of view how you see right now the this new era, right?
Yes.
Right now everything is different. How you merge, you have everything digital, everything is views, everything is mostly online. But at the same time, it's pretty cool because, like you say, that you can see right now Cannibal Corpse t-shirts on the mall. Now you can be in the digital world like more often. It's more easy,
Hmm.
less cost. And
Yeah.
yes, like the new people, like new younger kids or generation, knowing the music, here in Santiago, death metal is like a Bible, death and thrash metal, maybe
Hmm.
So
Yes.
a Massacre here is a legend, okay? So I understand that everything is a shame today, and today war is crazy. Well, and
Yes.
like you said before, you never know when it's gonna be your last day.
Hmm.
So and that's true. Well, I'm from Venezuela. Venezuela just had
Yeah.
two earthquakes.
Earthquake,
And by
insane.
the way, this interview is in honor to all the victims. So yes, it's something to think about it, and I like to see you try to always be fit. Just I saw you very cool, 60. If you told me that you're 40, I believe. So it's the same with the guy from Pestilence, Patrick. Patrick, that
Yeah.
guy is every day is more fit, and he
Hmm.
told me exactly the same like you. He was he had an experience, and right now he's trying to have a better body. Well, he always be this kind of healthy thing, so we need to follow those examples and say that to me.
Hmm.
Right now, coming back to Benediction, you have any particular song that you would like to perform on the stage?
I think a lot of the songs that I particularly like are almost the ones that they're going to be performing. I have to
Okay,
learn there's 14 songs that I have to learn. Some of
14
the newer,
songs.
yeah,
Okay.
14 songs. Some of the newer ones that I really liked and I never thought I'd be doing. Well, obviously, Progenitors of a New Paradigm, I'm actually on that on the album, and that's one of the ones that they want to do live. And then there's like songs like Stormcrow and The Crooked Man, and I really liked a lot of the newer stuff that Dave did, and it really has a really catchy like vibe to it. But there's older stuff that I like as
Okay.
well.
So it's
Yeah,
gonna be
like
a 14 set list. Thank you for that,
yeah,
Cam.
yeah. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
songs. I mean, I hope it's going to be more. I don't know. And I'm going to say this here. This is a little secret, but I'll let it out because I can't. I'm really horrible at keeping secrets. I'm horrible. I'm like when it comes to like my birthday and stuff. I'm bad, man. I will go and I'll sneak and go get the present. I look at it, and my wife's always like, you're horrible. You can't surprise anything. I'm like, no, I can't. I
No,
can
I
never tell her
can't.
when I get her something. So I'm going to spill this right now. They asked me the other day, they said, would you want to do a Massacre song? I said, yeah, let's
Oh
do a Massacre song.
my God.
Yeah.
So
So I'm not
we,
going to tell
we
you
can
what
see
song,
Benediction doing a cover from Massacre with you on the
yes,
stage. Perfect,
but I'm
sir.
not going to tell you what song.
Okay.
It's going to be a
Okay.
surprise, but I will tell you
Okay.
there is going to be a Massacre song. Hopefully.
Oh, okay, okay. Hopefully, okay. Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. I'm gonna put
Yeah.
that on the caption. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yep.
You are a nice guy, by the way. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Look, I have my always I always do like previous, investigations, to have a nice conversation with information. And I saw an interview that you made a year ago, and you was saying like you are a very fan of the these horror movies and
Yep.
everything, okay? Of course you have your own influence, but you say that you grow is coming for the Rottweiler. Is that true? Like,
Yes. Actually, I mean, not all of
no,
it, but
exactly. Exactly.
yeah, I mean, when I was younger, my mother raised pit bulls and Rottweilers.
Oh,
And And yeah, she did it for a while because, you know, for the puppies, and it was good money. This is before, you know, she found out that they used those dogs for fighting. Actually, she stopped that because she found that out.
Nice.
But for a couple, you know, years, she raised puppies, and she had a bitch. That's what they call them. That would, you know, was really good at, you know, well, she was a Rottweiler, and I was young, so I was, you know, a young teenager, and she'd always tell me, "Go feed the dogs," and I'm like, well, "Do I have to?" Because I hated it. I mean, if you've ever gone in between, you know, a bunch of Rottweilers and pit bulls, and there's 3 pit bulls and 2 Rottweilers,
Woof.
and you give them food,
yeah,
that's great. It's scary. It's scary because you're carrying a bowl, and I'm a little kid, and I'm walking out with a bowl, and these big dogs that are literally, their heads are right here, their faces, and they're breathing the snot. You know, I'm like, hey, and I'm like, I'm scared, and I'm like, okay, and I put the food down, and sometimes a couple of them would get, you know, try to get the food, and they go, there we go, and it make, I still think about it now. It makes my hair this goosebump, you know, if you just think about it. So when I went to switch, when I actually first joined Massacre, because I had been in Mantis and I was in Death, and of course, the vocals are a little different, you know, they're a little bit more raspy, you know, a little bit more like, you know, like that, you know, because that was the time. I wanted to do a little bit different. I said, let me do something. And I liked what I heard Tom G. Warrior in Hellhammer at the time he was doing. And he had a certain phonetic way of pronunciating and stuff. It wasn't deep, but I liked the way that he spoke. I didn't know at the time that it was just because he was from Switzerland and he was singing in English, but his English wasn't very good.
It sounded like that, yeah.
So he would say words, but I thought that was just the way he was doing it. I thought it was cool. And I didn't realize that's just his accent, you know, back then. So I try to imitate that, but there was little nuances he did. Like everyone knows the Tom G. Warrior, ooh, you know, everyone knows that. So I just took that and I made it more like, ooh, you know, like that. And then
like growling,
yeah,
like a
and
dog.
then and then Tom G. Warrior did stuff like, you know, hey, and I just went, you know, I just made it more, more deep, more deep. Yeah. What I thought was I wanted to bring that sort of aesthetic, that sort of vocalization, that when I was feeding dogs, how it made me feel, like almost like scared and on edge, like very like, oh, like that. And I said, what can I do? And it took me a while to develop it. You know, at first, you know, I was younger, you know, I was still, you know, 16, 17 years old. My balls hadn't dropped, but I still had a high, you know, I was still a teen boy.
The voice was different,
Yeah. So, you know, I went through puberty late, you know, I didn't become a man until I was 20, you know, and all of a sudden I'm 20 and my voice went from up here to all of a sudden I could talk like this. You know? Yeah. So that also had to do with a lot of the change. So you know, if you go back and you listen to the old you know, Mantis stuff that I'm on, I'm still a kid. I'm still a teenager. And then we get into Massacre, and then I just turned, you know, 18, 19, and my voice is getting deeper. And then by the time From Beyond came, I was a young man, so my voice got even deeper. So it just grew. It's just something that grew into. It wasn't something like right away, you know.
Yeah, he's being evolving.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Now we're running out of time, but I would like to how you can invite like younger people that they maybe don't know about Benediction to go to the concert to see you performing with on stage this next October 28th.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for younger people that really want to get sort of, I guess, an education in maybe death metal, to see where it originated from, to see myself. I don't like to say I'm a legend. I let other people say that. I don't.
I say that you are a legend. Don't worry.
I don't like to think of myself that way. I'm just a guy that was lucky. You know, I was the guy that was lucky and was there when it was
In
all
the
being
right
created.
time, yes.
Yeah, just like Paul Speckman was there and Jeff Becerra was there, and all
Great
those
names.
early old guys. Pat from Hellwitch. Even Mike Browning from Morbid Angel and the guys from Morbid Angel. We were all there in the beginning,
yes.
in the very beginning, and we all did our own thing, and it created what we did. And then guys came along in the second wave, like Chris Barnes, which I love the old Chris Barnes, man. I loved the early Cannibal Corpse and what Chris did. But you can also go back and listen to Cannibal Corpse demos of what he started on, and then that first album, and you can hear the change and different. And as he got deeper and deeper, and now he has his own style and he does the thing. So so that's his own thing, his own unique thing. And then everybody has grown, and it's great. It's even like if you go back and listen to David Vincent from all the different Morbid Angel albums, each one he just got more brutal and more deeper until by the time the fourth album came out, he was really deep and doing something different. And it's something we all grew. So I think for the fans to come out and see Benediction, one of the bands they've been together forever. They've been there from the beginning as well in the UK scene, and see me performing with them, they might say, "Hey, look at this old man up there still doing it."
Okay.
So I'm inviting all of you to come out and check us out. All of you to come see Benediction with this old man on stage doing some death metal, doing it from the heart and doing it for fun. And unlike rock stars, because I don't ever think of myself as a rock star, I'm very approachable and I might be at the merch booth, hanging out at the merch booth or hanging out at the bar or walking through the crowd. You may turn around and see me standing there watching the opening band. You never know. I don't hide. So that's one thing I don't do. I don't hide.
I respect that. So
as long as I sign everything and I don't charge nobody, that's rock star. That's ridiculous.
That's Metallica.
That's what I love about death metal is a family. We're just normal guys. At least I am. Maybe the other guys out there think they're rock stars, but I'm not. I have no problem signing stuff or whatever. Sign papers, if girls want me to sign their boobs, whatever.
That's even better.
Yes, that's even better, man. Yes.
I thank you, sir. Thank you. It's been a great conversation with you. I see in you like a very approachable guy. Thanks, by the way, to be here for your time.
Okay, no problem.
Today is what? Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah. Today here is how you call it? A holiday. So
it's a holiday. Okay.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm not working. So Thank you for that, sir. Appreciate it. I would like to see you soon. October 28th, Teatro Cariola. Benediction, Mr. Kam Lee from Massacre. The one of the how do they call it in English? One of the pillars. Yeah. The main columns of the death metal. So, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kam Lee.